and works here. Bless all those that attend tonight and the discussion and the decisions that are made. Bless us, especially those who are first responders. Keep them safe and well. And be with all of our community, also this Commonwealth, this nation, and the world, for we truly pray for peace in our time. May your will be done this evening, for we ask these things through your holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we're going to have the KLEC presentation. If Mark would come forward. Mark Bennett. No, that's Martha. Oh, did you give it to me? Mark. Okay, sorry. I had a Martha and I had a Mark. Yeah, please come forward. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. You want me to just go ahead and start?
Yeah, go ahead.
My name's Mark Philbin again with Kentucky League of Cities. This is John Clark, my replacement. I'm retiring February 28th, and John's taking my place.
Oh,
We do evaluations of police departments across the state. With the Kentucky League of Insurance Program, we're in loss control. Our job is to keep our officers safe, keep them out of lawsuit, but more importantly, keep them safe. We look at about 50 things when we come to a city. We look at 3 critical things, and those 3 critical things are policies, training, and leadership. There are very few departments across the state who have received a perfect 100% score, and your department has done that. We've got a little plaque here we're going to present to the chief, but if you will, I'd just like to take a couple of seconds to say, when we train and we tell our chiefs and we tell people that we speak to, that leadership, the 3 things are critical. Policies, training are very important, but leadership is the most important. And I would just like to take a second to say that your Chief Sanders, is a personal friend of mine. I've had the honor of him coming from my former police department, Jefferson County Police Department. We worked together when I was the commissioner at DOCJT. He was the commissioner of the state police. There were a lot of good commissioners, but there was Rick Sanders and there was the rest of us. He was by far the best. He's one of the best people, man, that I know. We are so lucky in the state of Commonwealth of Kentucky to have such a leader. He's so respected that usually one of us do this. We both came tonight, and there's one of us that's undercover, off duty, and we've got something to go to, but he also came just out of respect to Rick Sanders. And we want to thank Rick, but all of you also as elected officials, and actually everybody sitting in here for supporting this, because this isn't an easy accomplishment. You all have to fund it. You have to support it. The citizens have to support the standards we put in place. And in our world, this is a huge accomplishment. So with no further talking, I think John wanted to thank Rick also. So
I just wanted to add very quickly, I had the pleasure of working for Rick Sanders when we both were at KSP, and you all have the opportunity to have as your police chief one of the finest examples of police leadership that is out there anywhere. We're very blessed to have him. Thank you.
this is an honor for our police department, and we're very proud of them, and we want the best of the best. And I think you all show that. Leadership is, you're right, number one. I've found that out in the last 2 weeks.
Thank you, Carol. I appreciate our mayor. I'm sorry, but these 2 men have been introduced. Brian, please stand up. Brian Nunn is a retired police officer. This shows the importance that KLC, the Kentucky League of Cities, puts on law enforcement. These gentlemen travel the state and give us these scorecards every year. And I've been blessed in my career. This is going to cost me a lot with them paying me all these compliments. John was on my staff at KSP. He was a major, retired from KSP. Brian worked for me when I ran DEA here in Louisville as an LMPD officer. But I got to say a little bit about Mark Philburn. Mark Philburn has 38 years in this business, and he's going to retire at the end of next month. And knowing Mark, he won't go away. He'll be around for us whenever we need him. But we're blessed to have the Kentucky League of Cities recognize the importance of law enforcement and what we do every day. So just thank you very much and appreciate you being here. And we'll get a couple of pictures and get out of your way, Mayor. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
it was fine. Thank you. And thank you very much.
Usually that's kind of what we do. Is the first half is like whatever you want. So, first half's supposed to be the community.
Everybody's here tonight. Thank you.
But yeah, there's no committee. It's everything like that. Yeah, cover whatever.
Our next visitor will be Mary Ann Martin. Is she here? Mary Ann, would you like to come forward and talk to us? You're welcome.
I live at 4208.
Pull that. Yeah,
Okay. for
I don't hear
people.
well.
We received notice at the apartment place I live over here at 4208 Belltown Road.
Okay.
I have spoke with Mr. Miller a couple times here to try to address concerns on this. You'll have to excuse me. I'm going to need to sit down. I have some health problems and shortness of breath becomes one of them.
Okay.
With this notice,
If you want to sit down, that's fine.
with this notice, have had a lot of issues. Trash not being picked up. And as part of the solution to this, the question, if you take our trash can, up to the embankment,
Right. I'm familiar with that.
I am physically not taking out the system and my trash can up to the embankment.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Right. Let me ask Ron, you're familiar with this situation, is that right? What do you suggest?
So can you bring that up? I've got some photos here.
Pull that up, Ron. Pull this.
While we're pulling that up, can I ask a question to Miss Martin? Hey, Miss Martin, right here. Have you had a chance to approach your apartment complex? The
Mm. It's a pretty steep embankment. It's, even though it's short and it's probably only 2 feet, it is pretty steep.
And I was just asking to see, you know, if it's impacting you, it's going to impact other people there. And so it's more of an apartment complex issue instead of an individual issue. Okay.
There's
Yeah,
9
they are.
fourplexes there. It's by 8 different owners. One owner does own 4 or 2 of the buildings.
Okay.
So if you look at the picture there where the dot is, that's the area we have in question. Bill, next.
Put your mic up, Ron.
That's a close-up of it. You can see the way the cars are parked there, and actually at the bottom right-hand corner, you can see some garbage cans there, and then a little farther is the sidewalk. But there's not a lot of room there. Normally, there's a bunch of cars there. There's a one pickup truck that's I guess a roofer, has a ladder sticking off, and what makes it tight. And then if they get parked, there's 2 entrances. If they get parked too close, then Rumpke has a real hard time. They could only come in and go out one way because of the way they pick up. That's the south entrance. Going in, you can see some cars parked open on the right, along with the garbage cans that they moved up to the sidewalk. Yes, most of them were moved up there today. Also drove other parts of Billtown Road, and we had the same issue because the area between the sidewalk and the street, the verge, is so small and so close to the lines. Nobody's going to put their trash cans out there. If they do, we're going to have other issues with that. You can see where they're at. You can see the verge area, how close it is.
So Ron, if they stop the cars from parking parallel to the cars that are facing the apartment complex, and we could put the garbage cans on the other side of that, would that help, or that's not going to work?
Where the cars are parked parallel right there with Billtown Road, if we made that if you made that a no parking area or a limited parking, and they can get the cans there and leave that parking lot open, that would work.
You know, why couldn't we put a sign up there, no parking on whatever her garbage day is?
Certain day. That's what I was thinking.
It's only once a week, right?
Yeah, today.
Is that a private
I was going to
lot,
say,
or is that a public lot?
parking lot?
Private.
Yeah,
It's
It is a
so
private
it's
parking
an
lot.
apartment complex that would need to.
It's not actually a complex,
It's 4 different owners there.
but it's for all the, like I said, there's 8 owners there. So, you know, it's private property. But even if we did that and people were parking there on garbage day, you know, and then we'd have to call PD to go out there and see what they find, and if they had time or if they were available. But I think we would still have the issue.
So can Rumpke get in there, or so would they have to walk over the grass and then get the cans and pull them up there? Is that what Rumpke's, are they not cooperating?
No, they're cooperating 100%. They're the ones that notified us, and that's why we went forward with this to see if we can find a solution. I've had a couple of people call me with concerns on it, and I told them I would try to work with them. That's why Ms. Martin, we've been talking for a few days now, and we talked to fire department, which, as a former firefighter, I told her, their fire truck's not going in the parking lot anyway.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't pull down in there. You're right.
They're going to go from the street and go in that direction.
Right.
EMS could probably get in there as long as there wasn't one bad job parking.
Well, is Rumpke not going down Billtown Road and extending that long arm either?
Yeah, that's how they're getting it
That's how they're
now.
getting it today.
Well,
But
why
they
do we
were
keep on
going.
talking
They were
about them
going into the lot
then?
to pick them up.
Can't get over the street.
They were going into the lot,
Yeah,
but they're not now.
they're not now
How come they are changed?
because we redirected them to come off of Billtown Road because
Okay.
they were having issues in the lot.
Well, if they came into the lot, wouldn't that make it simpler?
That's the problem. When they get in the lot, there's too many cars there and they're blocking the garbage cans,
Yeah,
or
'cause
the
cars are
a
parking.
couple trucks are parked out too far. They can't get through.
So what's your suggestion?
I don't have.
Yeah.
That's
Because
why
it's
I'm here
pri-
talking to you, trying to figure it
Could
out.
we
Because
get
it's
with the
private property.
owners of
Yeah.
the complex and?
Well, I've sent,
Jim.
I put a notice on each of the buildings last week, and I've sent a notice to all the owners. One owner I reached out to because I had his number. I knew his building. The owner of her building called me, and that's the only contact I've had.
I
They're
mean,
probably not, landlords don't seem to respond.
I was gonna say the quick suggestion would be, since it's private property, we can't do anything, but we could recommend that from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, nobody can park, on that road, but we can't enforce any of that. That would just be a recommendation to property owners.
Jimmy, did you have something to say about it? Stand up, Joey. Jimmy.
Playing devil's advocate, my question was to City Attorney Fisher. Blocking the sidewalk with the trash cans, would that be a violation?
More importantly, if I may, we went through this same outfit back in Okay. I was just going to scream. We went through this with this same group, although I think at the time it was owned by one individual. All of them were. And since then, he's sold them off. But that's who we need to get to, are the property owners. They need to do something. And we spoke before the meeting, and my suggestion is to cite all the owners into a code enforcement board meeting and explain to them they're going to have to address this. And I don't want to give legal advice to the members of the public, but they all have landlord-tenant rights. And a landlord cannot make it an impossibility for them to get their trash from their unit to wherever it has to go. They either need to provide a receptacle or they need to make some other arrangements.
That's what I was thinking.
Now, I understand that it's going to be difficult with, what'd you say, it was 8 different owners?
8 different owners.
I suggest that you've already sent them the letter.
Yes, sir.
The next letter is going to give them like 7 days to either respond, or they'll be getting a citation for the building from the code enforcement board, and we will assess fines until they address and correct this problem.
Okay, so, yes, Miss Martin? Is your building in the middle of those?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, Ron, you think Rumpke would probably be willing to go if we had it? They'd be willing to drive through there again like they did before?
Yeah, if we can get that cleaned up and keep the vehicles out of there, Rumpke won't have a problem going in there.
Yeah.
Number one, it's a little easier for them getting off Billtown Road. As far as Jimmy spoke about the sidewalk, that's all of Billtown Road.
Mhm.
I went above Robson all the way up to Laura Lynn, because that verge area. Bill, go to the next picture. Let me see what we've got here. In front of the units, there's 4 parking spots on each unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look to the left of that one, they have some that go back a little bit. So they actually have 6 parking spots per unit. If they double park like they do on some of them, they can get 8 vehicles there, which would clear the street side. Next picture. You can see how the trucks pulled up there and the car set
Right.
back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they have enough parking for the units by code. That's coming in the north side.
That shows the steepness that you're dealing with.
Yeah, keep going. That's the area of the verge. So we really can't put a can out there. We're going to cause more of a hazard at that point.
That is a hazard.
As far
The kids
as-
are walking.
As far as the sidewalk. If it was, there's your lip. If that was flat, then they could put the cans back on that, and that would resolve the problem. But like I said, we have this all the way up Milltown Road. That's the last one, Bill? No. Yeah, and we're gonna. But this shows you, if you look up at the top of it, how they have them parked, and just that pickup truck's having a tight spot getting through there with the trailer. Normally, there's a lot more cars on there. I was hoping to get a picture of the truck that has ladders sticking off. We're going to address that as well. But we're just trying to find some solution to help them out. We're not causing too much of a hazard and to get this taken care of. Now, what I had placed out there was just a notice. It wasn't a violation or anything, just stating due to the recent problems we have, this is where we're going to go. And I cited the property maintenance code, which is 206.5.4.1. Trash containers shall not be stored in front yard or street side yard. So by them leaving them out there in the parking lot, they're in violation of that code because they're between the house and the street. Even though it's on private property, they still fall in commercial, they still fall under our code. 206.5.5, rubbish containers shall not be placed at the street prior to 4 p.m. the evening prior to the regularly scheduled collection day and must be removed from the street within 12 hours. So by leaving them stored out there, that's another one. That's why we decided to address it this way. Figure we put out a notice, see how it went, talk to them, and see if we can figure something out.
Okay. So do you want to try that?
If we
Fred,
can get,
what do you recommend?
I like Fred's recommendation.
I think we need to get the gang of landlords in
Yeah, the
here
landlords, yeah.
and explain it to them without, we've sent letters, we'll cite them in under the garbage can being beside or behind the house. Also, I'm concerned, this is probably it's probably jointly owned by all these people, all the owners of these various units. It's a common area, I think.
You're talking about the parking lot, Fred?
Parking lot, yeah. I believe when we did this, and it might have been 30 years ago, when we did this the last time, that was a common area, but it might have just been because they only had one owner. Now, I don't know how he went about selling these separate units without subdividing that lot, if in fact it was a common area. So we need to get to the bottom of that, whether that is a common lot to all of these units or each unit has a strip of it. And they're going to have to address the parking part of it.
I don't understand why they don't have a dumpster for everybody there. It would look a whole lot better than all those garbage cans out there.
According to Land Development Code, dumpsters, I believe, are required for 6 units or more.
6 units. Okay.
Don't quote me. I'm going to get with Mr. Rusi tomorrow. Bill, can you go to that first picture of Logic? Yeah. What that's showing right there with the red lines are, and they're not exact, but the property line. So it looks like that area next to the street is, I'll have to look up on there to see who that's listed with. That may be, I don't know. Jimmy, is Billtown Road? State road?
Yeah.
So that's going to be state's responsibility.
You know, Fred, I sold one of these buildings and I can almost tell you, if I remember correctly, it went front to back and did not have common joint tenancy with the people next door in the parking lot. And it just said like 48 by 60, if I remember correctly. It's been a while, but it didn't address the parking lot by all the people. I think it's just one person that owns that.
What it looks like is
The area right between Billtown Road behind the cars that we call that easement that's owned by the state. If that is, then we have the possibility of parking.
If that's city easement or state easement, if that's the property line right behind the cars, then we can say no parking there.
Well, why can't the owners just put no parking there on Thursdays or whatever day the garbage is picked up? Wouldn't that make it simpler?
We can't enforce that.
Yeah, if it's private property, we can't.
Well, I would think that we have a right to enforce something if the people's leaving the garbage out and making an eyesore in the city. There's got to be something that we can do. I don't care if it's on private property or not. They're not going to leave their garbage out.
I'll look up that area and I'll get with Steve Rusi and we'll pull up and see exactly. If
Okay.
that's an easement, state property, or if it's considered part of the state road. But we'll
Okay.
figure out who actually owns that.
Okay.
That'd be good.
Miss Martin, we'll work on it. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Just see me tomorrow, Ron. Okay. We'll work out something.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Martin, for coming. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next I have, Martha Bennett. Is she here? Martha, could you come forward, please? Pull down your mic if you can. Oh, did you get shocked?
Yeah. Boy.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
This summer, I had a new fire hydrant put out in front of my house. It wasn't me that wanted it, but they told me that they would leave my yard the way they found it. No,
They didn't.
no. They finally came back after they put in the fire hydrant, and I wasn't there. And they threw some gray seed on the bare spots and some straw
Mhm.
and left.
Mhm.
Well, I got a big hole this deep
Oh, it's falling through.
where they didn't fill it in. And they seeded, and I've picked up rocks the size of golf balls up to softball size. You're not going to grow grace on that.
No.
I've called the water company 3 times, Louisville Water Company, because I came over here direction and talked to the fireman over here. Jay
Sean.
Brown. And I talked to the major. I thought it was them. He said, no, that they do put them in for you all or us, but it's the Louisville Water Company that hires contractors
Right.
put these in, and the thing's sticking out of the yard this far, the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's a hazard as well to children.
And now this thing is dripping.
Oh, it's leaking. Let me ask our public works director, Jimmy, when those are installed, do you all go back and you don't have anything to do with that, do you? But don't you have the contact to take care of that?
I can try that. Your address, I'll come back.
Somebody needs to. That's why I came to the top.
Right. You know what? Yeah, let me tell you something. The wheel that squeaks the loudest gets the oil. So that's what my mom always said. So there you go. You're coming to the top, we'll get it taken care of.
I try to
Okay.
keep my yard, decent looking.
Right.
That's just terrible. That's
Right.
terrible.
We'll get it taken care of. I'll
I
have it looked
appreciate
at
it.
tomorrow.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you a lot. Bye, Miss Bennett. Okay. Reading of the minutes, January 3rd, 2023.
Make a motion, we read the minutes from January 3rd by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. General fund warrant number 1577.
I make a motion for general fund warrant number 1577 to be approved as distributed.
I hear a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Road fund warrant number 964.
I make a motion, we approve road fund warrant 964 by as
Second.
distributed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. First reading of resolution number 735, series 2023, a resolution of the governing body, city of Jeffersontown, Kentucky.
Mayor, it's 725, not 35. There's a typo.
Oh, 725. I thought maybe my eyes were going bad. Okay, along with everything else. Fred,
Yes.
first reading of resolution number 725, series 2023.
We have to make a motion first.
What is it?
Somebody made a
Well,
motion.
that's, I was going to say, that's where you come in, Fred.
Like the first reading.
Uh-huh.
Somebody needs
Yeah,
to
we have
move.
to
the
make a
final-
motion.
First reading,
Don't even know what it is.
yeah.
Can't make a motion on what it is.
Gotta
I
tell
don't
us what
know.
it is.
I said first reading of resolution number 725, series 2023, a resolution of the governing body, city of Jeffersontown. That's on there. That's what I said.
This is for the retirement plan.
I don't know. I'm waiting on Fred to tell
If
me.
someone could make a motion
Yeah,
for
we
a
have to
first
make a
reading.
motion.
I'll
So
The
moved.
motion.
So
Second.
moved.
Or some,
You got first and second.
okay.
A resolution of the governing body, city of Jeffersontown, Kentucky, that being the Jeffersontown City Council. This is pursuant to a statute promulgated for the adoption of KDC to participate in the 457 plan and the 401k plans as a trustee for the collection and investment of these funds for so many employees who may want to get into a deferred plan. And this being a resolution, it only takes one reading for an adoption. You may so entertain said motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Before we have council member reports, there's some things we need to go into. First of all, do you want to go into executive session or do you want to talk about,
I make a motion to go into executive session.
okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Excuse me,
Okay.
before you.
We'll be right back.
Excuse me, before you take that vote, Madam Mayor, we need to articulate the reason for it. And I did speak with Councilman Bloom earlier.
Pending
And it
litigation.
would be pursuant to KRS 61810C, the discussion of pending litigation.
Okay.
That's all that'll be discussed in there.
So move second. Yep.
No, Fred will.
Still here?
Wait till she gets in here.
Sorry.
I had this on.
I make a motion to reconvene.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't really think y'all can do
Carol,
that.
we already reconvened and voted.
She's right here.
Did you think I left? There was a door maybe.
Clerk, before they reconvene, would you let the record reflect that no final action was taken on any subject during the executive session?
Sir.
Okay, next thing I'd like to talk to the council.
Motion to reconvene.
Oh, I need a motion to reconvene.
Oh, we did that when you all were talking.
Oh, sorry. We didn't know you
Here,
did that.
it.
We did.
Did it pass?
It did.
Yes.
Unanimous. Unanimous. You want to do that?
Y'all ahead of us.
Carol, you want to do
Yes.
I don't have any mayors anymore.
That was out of order.
Okay, next thing I'd like to talk about is the police department and maybe the amphitheater. I don't know, but we're going to have a serious overrun on price. And I'd like for Matt to come forward and talk about it and tell them what you know, Matt, and let's go from there.
Got a couple boards. You want me to get those, Fred?
I'll get them. Go ahead and talk. I can listen.
You want me to help you pass them out?
I'll start from here and then I'll go.
We can just give me a stack.
I've got some. I need one more down here for this one.
Got one more training.
Maybe one more? Y'all got any extra? This is the police department.
We're gonna need
That's for Bill. That's for Bill. That's. If you have any left, you can give me that. We need one more, Carol. One more of the police, Y'all have any extra for of the police department one? Got any extra?
no, I think we had exactly
Got
enough.
two?
This is farmer's market. This is grants.
We'll share.
Everybody get the 3 different packets?
Y'all got 3 different packets? Should have.
The first.
You guys have a
packet-
stack right there, Pam.
Oh. There we go.
The first one was the first one to pull out, has the Georgetown logo on top. This is something I prepared to kind of at least talk about all the active projects that are in some phase of development or construction that are going on in the city as a whole. So I won't touch on all these. I'm going to go into 2 specific projects that the mayor asked me to cover. But these talk about the farmer's market, Taylorsville Road. Some of the projects you know about have been on the books for a while, but this really gives you a good snapshot of all the projects that are currently in some form of development in order to get to construction. If you have any more specific questions about any of those, I can always talk to you after the meeting. Turn to the 3rd page. I'll touch on the amphitheater first. Project title, it says Veterans Memorial Park, Veterans Run Amphitheater Park Project. What I've done in these, and each of these are all the same, I identified the project title, the grant program that may be funding that particular project, a projected budget for the project, and basically a project description. And then I did kind of a little project status update, which is the underlying portion. So it kind of tells you where they are at in this particular moment in time. And then if you turn to this picture, this one here of the amphitheater, I will talk a little bit from that. Most of you have seen this, a lot of these slides, but for the three new ones, I wanted to go ahead and give some clarity of the project and the scope in itself. If you turn to the first page, back in the spring of 2013, the city embarked on a overall master plan for the Veterans Memorial Park. The site where the amphitheater is used to be a wastewater treatment plant. And so once that plant ceased to exist, that property reverted back to the city. And so we recaptured that property. That was kind of the jumping off point in order to do a master plan on how we can incorporate that park or that land into our overall master park of Veterans Memorial Park. So this is kind of the layout of that whole park. As you can see at the top of the page is roughly where the amphitheater is being constructed today. At the bottom of the page where you see Taylorsville Road, that's where the Freedom Wall and the Veterans Memorial Plaza is, which is phase one of this master plan. If you turn the page, you'll see some images of what the treatment plant site used to look like. It's now being repurposed as an amphitheater and a park sitting. The next page kind of shows what it looks like after the treatment plant site was decommissioned and remediated. As you look in the foreground, there were two existing structures there. We worked with MSD to retain those because we saw they had some particular purpose that we could reuse on this site. And the one to the right is one now currently being repurposed to a bathroom and concessions that will feed this part of the park. The other building you see back there, we have raised the walls and the ceiling, and that's going to become an open air pavilion, similar to what you see up on phase one, up around the Freedom Wall. The next page is just some site pictures of the existing conditions. And then I kind of zoomed in to the performance lawn and the amphitheater in the lower part in the next one. And if you turn the page from there, this is really the schematic design that was approved by the council and the one that we went to design with in order to start the bidding and the construction of the project. I will also view of the proposed entire park project that we're trying to move forward with and construct. Now I'd like to kind of go to the lower part, which is the construction summary. This is going to give you now the financial picture of the project, where we're at today, and what is still left to be completed. When you look at that next page, it says work under construction. There's 3 bid packages that are currently been bidded, and they're all under construction today. Bid package 1 basically has prepped the site for all the site work and put in all the utilities that will serve the need for the amphitheater building itself, as well as the restroom building, in order to provide that level of service to those 2 uses. That bid amount was $964,000. The current price for that is $1,228,000. There was a couple change orders that happened last fall in dealing with the encroachment permit with the state cabinet. They required us to extend the guardrail along Rock Eagle Parkway and a few other items that kind of raised the price there by about $40,000. Bid package 2 is purely the construction of the amphitheater building itself. The bid price on that was $5,291,000. Current price is elevated to $5,397,000. That difference in the increase is what was discussed previously about some of the cost in material only for the project. Given the current conditions of the market, the subcontractors and the contractors are finding that subcontractors are only holding their material price for a week, 10 days, 15 days. So the prices are escalating. What the previous administration wanted to do is allow the project to go forward, manage what those cost increases are, but still, in order that we had to absorb those costs. So we've been monitoring them and tracking them. One thing we're doing on this project is what they call a DPO. It's the direct purchase order. What that means is basically the city, the contractor identifies the needs and the purchase of all the material. But the city will directly purchase those from those particular vendors or suppliers. The benefit that gives the city is that we can get those purchases tax exempt. So those purchases could save the 6% sales tax. And on this project, the total material cost is pushing about 2.9 million. So we're able to save 6% of that in just doing this direct purchase where the city purchases all these. So I'm managing that process on behalf of the city in order to capture that little bit of savings that we can do. Bid package 3 is the conversion then of the restroom building, which sits right here. That's going to be 6 public individual restrooms and then a small concession area in order to provide, some level of concessions for different events that will be happening at this amphitheater park. That is the current projects that are under construction today. Any questions about those 3?
There are restrooms in the big building up on the left too, aren't there? Or not? Are there restrooms in the big building on the left?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
But those restrooms only serve the needs of that facility when necessary.
Hey, Matt, I had a question. On those 3 bid packages that you were talking about, is that, because I believe sometime in November, the mayor came to us and presented us with funding for the major projects, the amphitheater and the police department. And he told us that Veterans Park Phase 2 would be 7.5 million is what's kind of budgeted. There'd be a sales tax reduction of 150,000 roughly because the city's buying the material to save on the sales tax. Was at the time, was that just these 3 bid packages and not what we're about to go through?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Turn the page. This is work remaining that still needs to be either finished design and development, bidded, and then also start construction. Right now, we had broke them out into 3 phases just because we're trying to look at breaks in particular parts of the project as a whole that made sense. These could be combined into one, or they could be repurposed in any other phases. But these are the 3 that kind of made sense in order to get the project to certain levels of benefit to where you can enjoy the site. Bid package 4 going to cover the performance lawn. The performance lawn will be the construction and the parking lot. Will be the construction of all this parking lot here and this parking lot here, and then all the concrete work and the grading, the trellises and swings, all that stuff in order to accomplish the ability to get the amphitheater to a point where it could be in use and operational. As you can see there, there is
the parking lot?
Pardon me?
Will that include a parking lot there?
That includes all the parking lot, this parking lot, all the concrete work, grading of the performance lawn, the swing trails area.
And this is in bid package 4.
That would be a proposed bid package 4.
Okay.
With at this point in time, a projected budget of 1.5 million.
Okay. So my question is, where are we getting this money?
Well, let me finish the other
Okay.
ones and then we can talk through that. Bid package 5, this is one where it basically is moving towards the rest of the site. This is what we call the grand lawn. The conversion of a pavilion, some water wall feature that will take it to the edge of Tombstone Stream like we've done on the other parts of the park where we want to get the public to engage in the water. And also finish forward area down area and some of the, in order to make the grade transition work from up here down to here. This is almost going to be kind of like a bow in a way in order to make the drainage work and the floodplain compensation. And that's why that part of the project had to get looked at more seriously. If you look at the bottom, the projected budget to complete that element of the project is 2.5. Now these are just projections because as you can see below, we're only at 60% of those plans, which means it's only 60% complete in order to get to a full set of construction documents where we can actually get a true engineer's estimate, impact the design and the potential cost of what that might be, and then also get it ready for bidding.
You said bowl, does that mean like a water retention area? It's gonna be able to hold water for a water retention?
For floodplain compensation, because anytime you fill in a floodplain, you gotta offset that fill somewhere else. So this area is gonna have a fill, a lower area, it's gonna be very usable pond, really big. That's why you start to see some of the perfectly walls coming here. That's why we this side maybe we could use the balloon glow or something like that. Possibly.
So that's what he was talking about.
And then the bid package 6. If you go back, if you look at the master plan sheet, or the sheet 2 or 3, it's very important to make sure that if you look at this park as one big park, that we would provide a roadway that would connect the upper and the lower park, as we call that area. And that's basically to get to where if anybody comes to Veterans Park, no matter where they may enter the park and park, they can be able to maneuver all through the park without having to get back out on Ruckerigo Parkway, Taylorsville Road, or Chenoweth Run. And that's a good design tool to have. Most of your major parks are set up that way. That way you can maybe only have to park once. You don't have to get out of Turn the page. This is where I'm going to show you the summary, project summary. On the left, you can see bid packages 1, 2, and 3. Those are the current ones that are been out to bid and are under construction. And they total roughly $6.8 million. Bid package 4, 5, and 6, which is work to be remaining in order to implement the master plan that you previously saw in the packet. And the sum of those bid packages at this point in time is 4.6 is projected. Now, when you come over to the right-hand column, you see the project summary. Under construction 6.8, work remaining is a 4.6, which comes to a total of $11,469,000 in order to complete this project. Of that, currently, what you mentioned, we've been pulling about $7.5 million that was identified in that spreadsheet that was presented there last fall, which is blended a little bit with some of the COVID and the CARES money, which then shows you what the remaining balance would need to be that the city would have to secure in order to complete the rest of the park. Now, it could be done in different phases over a period of time. We will have to at least look at some of the phases that will need to probably happen in order to make that park operational, or at least the amphitheater. And then we're going to have to just work through this in the coming months to figure out how we do the rest of the project.
Matt, can I interrupt? I think you kind of were answering some of my question right there. It seemed like phase 3, where you're talking about out around the creek with the buildup of concrete and a pathway on the opposite side of the parking lot. And then the different cuts that are coming through the green lawn. Is some of that to keep erosion away? So then all of a sudden we don't build this and have the other, restrooms out here, but don't do any of the other stuff, and then rain comes and it all wash away?
What you can't see here is this grade will go down probably at the one slope. So you get down through them, you have what we call the grand lawn, which is on we're designed it where we won't have the erosion problem.
Well, I'm just saying, so it's kind of like, if you're doing this part of it, you have to do that part. If you're going to do the excavation, then you got to drop concrete.
Right. There's going to be, that decision going to have to be made. What do we have to do in order to get part of this park operational? And where can we possibly plan, the rest of the park expansion over the coming years?
Okay.
Okay. And I could put some projections to that, I think at the immediate front, we'll probably have to go to bid package 4 in order to get where we can open this amphitheater and start using it. Package 4 gives us the parking lot.
It's the parking lot, yeah.
All this area here, this parking here. At that point in time, we can start utilizing this amphitheater as we either funding.
That's where I was going.
As well
All
as
right.
the roadway that connects the two areas. you turn the page from there, this is just kind of a color sequencing map to kind of give you another kind of view as you look to this. The red is what's under construction. The blue would be that bid package 4. Green is bid package 5. And then bid package 6 would be the roadway. And if you turn the page, you kind of see roughly the profile of the roadway that will connect the upper and the lower part, which basically runs between the private residence that's there on Old Tales Road and R2 ball field as it comes down that hill.
Matt, the western parking lot, how many spots will that have? And then the existing parking lot, if say bid package 4 goes through?
I think the overall parking on this site was close to 200. I was thinking. So here we may be about 175. Rest to get us up. That's what the site is projected at. It meets a lot of the standards for a park this size and this location. And one thing that we didn't want to do, the amphitheater basically was the park. We wanted this to be a park every other day of the year where our citizens can enjoy the amenities around it like they do, the other parts of the park on a daily basis. So we didn't want to make it a huge parking lot.
Matt, on the project summary, we have current funding, 7.5 million is our current funding that we have for this project.
Yeah.
So we're short 3.9.
Right. Now, one way you can look at it is if you look at the bid package 1, 2, and 3, that's 6.8. If you subtract that from the 7.5 million, that's what we have still available. But what I'm going to probably be doing is looking at that difference and what can I do or make to impact bid package 4 in order to get where we can get part of this park open and figure out what we have left, what we need to do, and then that'd be my shortfall. I'm thinking 5 and 6 is probably going to be a pretty good break point where we could push this maybe to future years so some revenue catches up.
And then Matt, with that, with bid package 6, if there's like 200 spots down there, and say bid package 4 we're done, and we find the money to cover that, wouldn't we want the connector road so we could have more public events so we can use the parking lots up top?
Yeah. Now, there is already a little trail that kind of comes down between the two fields, so where if they did park up top, they could walk down the trail into this. But that road will play a very integral part in how we want to use this park and promote it with the public.
Yeah, I would almost flip-flop 5 and 6 and
Maybe,
try to do the road first and then build out a couple years later.
And maybe, or we could severely cut back what we would do in bid package 5.
Just do the
There
erosion
might be
stuff.
other strategies we can get to. But according to our consultant that we have now, they wanted to hold that 2.5 million as a projected budget for that bid package 5. So you can see the challenges on this project right now and where we're at and what we're trying to work through. But that gives you a snapshot of where it is currently and where yet we still have to go in order to call this project complete. Okay. Well, that's that one. Next one is the police department. That's Exhibit B. Has that same sort of logo on top. Previous administration was always trying to hold in a projected funding anticipation or earmark, if I called it, as $10 million. Was always kind of the magic number that we were talking about a lot and was presented to this council in the past. And so that was kind of where he was budgeting it. He also tried to budget 10 million for the amphitheater too. Once we got through all the construction documents, our engineers are required to produce what they call a engineer's estimate or architect estimate or opinion of cost based on that fully designed plan. That estimate is that second line that you see on the handout. Their estimate for bidding was $11,655,000. And that would have been the complete picture of completing the project. Now, but it's going to be improved. 1165 was the engineer's estimate to build everything you see on this plan. Okay. And they kind of broke it down into some of the disciplines. So you can see some of the costs. General building construction, 6.5. You got HVAC, fire, electrical, and how they got up to that number. If you turn the page, phase one, we call it, we did bid this project, and that bid came in at $14,240,000. That bid did not include the demolition of the existing building, which, as you see in this picture, is integral to the operation of the police department, because the new build, or the old building location is going to become their secured parking lot for all their vehicles in their operation.
Mhm.
And it did not include the demolition of the building as well, or the construction of this parking lot, and the secured fencing and lighting and landscaping.
Or the lighting or the landscaping, right?
Wow.
Okay, it was excluded.
And the plaza. So then we rebid it, and the second bid came in at $13,834,000. Again, that still did not include the demolition of the building, the parking lot, the plaza, and the landscaping. And as you can see bulleted down there, these are some of the items that we worked with the engineer to try to find a way to impact the bid. Now that we had a little bit more education of what the market's going to bear and what we could possibly modify and change in the project, try to help lower the bid. So it did lower it by at least $405,000, but still a substantial amount of cost. So what's left to be done on this project in order to call this project complete per this plan that was presented to the council is two construction elements. If you turn to the last page, there is the demolition of the existing building. So we have to demolish that existing building, remediate any hazardous material or abatement that might be in that building, and get rid of that. And our engineers are projecting that cost at about $300,000.
Do we know if there's any hazardous material?
It hasn't gone through that phase one yet, but that would be a part of the bid package, and that's done at that time. We could do that ahead of time if we so choose. The construction element two is then the secured parking lot. All this area, the secured, the fencing, protect this area, all the landscaping, of all that lot. Where they currently park now, which is all this area, will become into our public parking for downtown. So that will definitely help our downtown parking inventory at that particular time.
That's not the existing parking lot that's there right now?
This is the existing
That's
parking lot.
existing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be turned over to public parking.
To public, okay.
Because the police operation will all function out of this secure
And
parking lot.
fenced in, yep.
It'll be gated and secure to get into it. That element for the secured parking lot, the final site work and all, is estimated at $1.5 million. So in order to complete this project, based on presentations in the past and this here site plan, it would be the sum of those two.
$1,850,000. Folks.
On top of the 13.
On top of the 13.
On top of the 13.
That we didn't know, really go over.
Huh?
We didn't really discuss that or go over that when we
In the beginning was 10 million.
voted on this.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say back in November, it was a different picture was presented.
13, that's what we, 15.
Well, we're into it now. And, we all want the police department. Let the record reflect that I did not and would not have continued on with this project. And if I had a way to break the contract, I would have done it. And we would have gone back to the drawing board and we would have given it to the police department and I would have gone to the builder and I said, you got 10 million, you build what you can for 10 million. Unfortunately, the ground was broken, contract was signed. There's nothing I can do with it, but I want everybody to know I did not do this and I inherited it. And I just want the record to reflect that.
Okay.
No, that ain't.
All right, they reflect it.
No. Somehow we'll find the money. Matt and I have been talking today. We're going to call on some different entities. I'm going to call our congressman. He's going to see if there's any more grants. Billy, I guess you'll dig hard.
5.8 million. That's if we don't go over on the police department 50% like we did on the. Do that, now you're talking 12 million. Giving you the bare facts as I see them.
So how do you feel about it, Billy? I mean, how do you?
We'll figure out something. You know, worst case scenario is they had to take out bond debt, which is, it's, and that's something we didn't plan on doing. But
One good thing is that we don't have to pay for it all this year and that we've got next year and.
yeah, but just remember that our budget, we don't have $6 million just sitting around
Right.
that we're not spending, just to let everybody know.
Mhm.
I mean, unless the only thing that can help us is if we get more revenue, we can do it piece by piece. But the big thing will be, in my opinion, is amphitheater's already going up to 10 million or 11 million. So that's 50% higher. If the police department does the same thing, that's about 6 million. I'm not, it's just me as an accountant talking. It's $10 million that nice if we get some more ARPS money. Wherever we get it, because that's about, we got about.
Is that a possibility?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything to that effect.
I don't think there's any left that hasn't been allocated through the state. We did get extra because some cities didn't take it, so we got their money, their portion of their money. There are, there's that national opioid.
Oh, we are getting that money, yes.
Yeah, but that's going to be used for the police department for their programs that they have down there. So that will help us. That's about $500,000 over 10 years, 20 years. So it's going to be $40,000 a year that we're going to get for that. So it's not like we're going to get it all at once.
Yeah.
But I think just need to take a hard look at our budget and see where we can some reasonable cuts. Make sure that we stay on the pricing that we currently have. We get the police department for the $15 million.
Then we're okay.
We're only 1.2 million or 1.3 million over that, and the other one's 5, so maybe we can come up with other financing. We do end up usually getting almost $1 million each year increase in occupational tax. So all that money to that project. So that's 2 years, 2 million. That doesn't get you all the way there. So there may have to be some point in time that you as a council have to say, we want to leave the amphitheater half finished, not use it. We want to leave the police department,
We can't leave it half finished.
Yeah, no, you gotta complete the police department.
But you may have to decide that the best thing to do for the city is to take out bond debt. Bond debt, as Fred has told me numerous times, that kind of expands it over the future of the people that will be using it. Okay, it's kind of I don't think any debt's a good debt, but it is a better debt because it spreads it out over the people that will actually be using those events. But like I said before, we'll work as hard as we can to cut, save as much as we can.
When all this started back, and the record will reflect this, but when all this started back months ago, I suggested at that time when we could borrow the money at 1%, that was like nothing. And I wanted to borrow the money back then and do it, and then we could have paid it back if we had the money. But now, of course, interest rates are up, so it's not going to be the same. I'm just concerned, and I have to rely upon you, and I have to rely upon you and the police department. We're going to have to all get together and find out where these funds are coming from.
Well, hey, Mayor, I remember when you brought that up and you were told there's no need to do that because it's all paid for.
But we did not know
Right.
at this time that this price was going to come in. We were not aware of that.
I know that's where I'm
told.
I'm pretty disappointed in the previous administration in that.
Right.
One thing that was not even brought up in any of this, which I think Chief addressed this, is the furniture that's going to go in this building. There's another expense.
But the furniture is going to be coming from the police department and seize money.
Yeah,
They can do that.
Hopefully that'll be enough to cover. So.
Any other questions?
You have a question? Why you didn't cover?
Thanks for getting all that together, Matt. That was a lot of good
Mitch, you did a
information.
good job today. No wonder you've been at the computer all day. Anybody have any questions, any comments?
I just want to make sure I understand. So police department, we're feeling will be about another 2 million. And then the next phase to the amphitheater, 1.5.
2 million for the demolition in the parking lot, which we thought was all in the same package of the 13 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We thought this was a full package price.
So we
not
thought,
phased out.
But the police department all in about 2 million more. And then amphitheaters.
15.8.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the amphitheater, if you do 4, got a little bit, see if that really gets you, will help you any with function of the amphitheater.
Yeah.
Because there's other parking spaces that won't develop in that. I think, Matt, right, with phase 4 and 5? Right. So you won't have it, so you won't have as many parking spaces available at that point.
And you won't have the thing right up against the creek, the overlook, or the sidewalk right up against the creek.
Well, and that might be something
That was
we could
phase
delay.
6.
You know, I'm not real sure that's important.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was
No, it's
asking
not
if it
important.
was for,
Spots, I think is what's going to be important for that amphitheater when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
that's why I was asking if it was needed for erosion purposes after excavating. That's why I was asking that, because that may be something you put on hold.
5.5 million.
And the way the projects line up, the amphitheater construction is ahead of police department construction.
Mhm.
So that's why we're having to make a decision. Okay.
Police department's gonna take 18 to 24 months to construct. So the police currently cannot leave their current operations until that project's complete. So the need for the demolition and that secured parking, all that, you know, may not be realized until that 2 years down the road. But the construction of the amphitheater and the restroom is targeted to be completed by September 1st of this year. So then that bid package 4 becomes a little bit more prevalent too, in order to get to the parking and the performance line where we can get that operational possible. So there are some of that scheduling and timing that I'll be looking at when I come back to the mayor to kind of say, how can we stagger any funding needs immediately? What's the most immediate need? You know, what do we need in year 1, 2, and 3 out? As we try to figure out how to solve this puzzle.
Secure lot is understood, but what is the access to the police department with the existing building sitting there, the existing building sitting over there, and the only parking here? Is the road expansion of Neal Street and Eastview part of phase 1 of
Yeah.
the police department?
Eastview and Bruners.
Brenners, okay, so that's the access
Yeah.
in and out of the police
They're going to
station.
maintain their access off Taylor Road to serve their future parking once that building is demolished. But the need to construct or demo that building won't happen until they have been totally
Understand.
located. Yeah. So there will be still some offset once that process goes on. But they will still maintain, you know, the use of this parking lot until all this is demolished and all that.
Okay.
in order to
I was
serve
just
their
making sure that back road and all that behind the police station going in the back
This-
door.
This road and this road is all being constructed with this project right now.
Okay, but you said no plaza.
With no plaza.
How do they get from there to there in
none
the
of
front
this
door?
other fencing type work.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for all the legwork you did on that. That's a great update. Thank you.
I can't hear you, Deb. You're right.
That's a good point. Hey, Matt, with this amphitheater, is it also going to be an event space that we can rent out for
Yes.
corporate?
Yes.
Maybe that might be where some of the funding comes from. I know it's not enough, but
Yeah, there is an event space on the back that could be rented out, when it's not being used as an amphitheater.
But we would need phase 4 to get the parking lot.
That's crucial. And to get the performance lawn created where people can come sit
Yeah.
and enjoy any acts that may be happening. at
Like
the
Shakespeare in the
amphitheater.
Park and stuff. Yeah.
We are looking at creating some level of maybe sponsorship packages to where, because I've been approached by a lot of corporate sponsors here in Jeffersontown that want to get involved in this project and want to maybe put some money up to either promote a concert series, help address some of the comments Debbie made in order to find some of that revenue too.
That might be a good idea, Matt.
And I think that's a good idea. It gets buy-in from the corporate community, invested in our community, plus it creates operating capital for us to put on some nice acts.
Aren't there companies that come into that, they want the whole space and they're going to take care of everything, bring the music, bring the concerts?
Yeah, we've been approached by them. We've actually met with 3 different entities that want to partner with the city in some capacity to do that. Some seem more attractive than others, but it's something that we met with this past fall internally here, me and Debbie and Emily. We haven't really had a chance to debrief the mayor on that, but I think there's some opportunities there, possibly depending on how we want this amphitheater to be used. So that'll be coming too in this.
Anybody offered a pony up about $5 million to name the.
Well, I mean,
name the police.
I've had some big entities want to talk naming rights of the
Yeah.
amphitheater as well.
Well, that's good.
And so that could be, potentially could have a large.
5
price
million,
tag
you can
to
put
it.
your name on it. We don't care.
Yeah.
You're in. Anybody out there want their name on a room?
We'll talk more about that in the coming months.
Anybody got any more questions? Okay, let's move on. Council reports. Allison?
No reports.
Okay, Tim?
No committee, no report.
Okay, you should have had your committee.
I don't want nothing.
Where?
Bill?
No, it's okay.
Oh, your committee, who's gave them? I gave them the committees. Who was supposed to do that?
No report, Mayor.
No report.
We'll do that for the next meeting.
Hold on. I wasn't told I was supposed to send that out.
Oh, okay. I gave it to Missy. I guess she,
Okay.
I
I
don't
thought
know.
she just gave it to me so I can make up the charts.
oh, okay. No, you'll have it next time.
Can we, yeah,
Sorry.
we'll-
We'll email
Will we talk
it
through
out
that
to you
next
all
time?
tomorrow.
Talk through it
I
next meeting.
apologize,
Yeah.
my error.
Yeah, next meeting, I'll tell you what you're head of and what one you're on. Okay,
Mayor,
Trina.
Mayor, I'll just send it out tomorrow on an email to him, so
Okay, so
expect
then you'll
it.
know where you are.
Okay, sorry.
Committee, no
It's
My
report.
bad.
Trina,
Problem.
no report. Ronnie,
Report.
Vince,
No report.
Pam,
No.
Pam.
No report.
Wow, this is an easy one. I have to say the city's moving along. Well, I have no report.
I have a report.
Oh, Mark. Sorry,
Yeah, I
I
have a-
forgot about you. I thought you just was patting me.
Yeah.
I do have one little thing that I've heard a lot of comments on the snow removal and taking care of us for that problem for the snow early this year. So we appreciate the public works and all their hard
Yeah.
work.
And
You
I
did a good
love
job.
this too. I meant to say something about this. Love it.
Yeah, we finally got that. Now you know who's who.
Thank you, Mark. Sorry.
Okay, Mark, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, Carol or Mayor, I was patting you on the back because
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you for the transparency from Fun Fact Friday, knowing what's going on at City Hall, and then this project overview, the transparency. I know that you've had a busy first 2 weeks, and it's really great to see this kind of transparency with the City Council.
you.
So thank you.
That's one of the things that I wanted to have because in 40 some years on the council, I and everybody else didn't have the transparency that we should have had as a council. So that was one of my promises I made to these guys, that you would know what's going on. And I want to thank Chief Sanders and the police department for their new report with all your pictures in it. Now we know who is who, except now we need to add 2 more majors in there that we didn't have. Oh, okay. Okay. I wanted to talk to Jimmy. Jimmy's done a good job with all his, he gets a nervous wreck when the snowfall is getting ready to come. It makes him nervous. He's up all night and he walks the floor. But luckily you haven't had but the one. Get prepared. We have February to go to. So I want to thank you for that. Third thing, and I was going to ask Jimmy about this, the streetscape. It seems to be moving along a little faster. than I thought that it was going to, Matt. And I had complaints, but now they've kind of calmed down a little bit. So are they going to be through with that before? I thought that they were going to be through with it because it looks like it really is. Go on the right-hand side. It looks pretty good.
They broke it up into 2 phases, basically the north side of the road, which you're working on now, and then the south side be next. They're projected to be done with the north side around April 1st, and then be complete, with the south side and all the project by end of August.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's talk about money. So the north side's almost done. We have the money for that to pay for that, because if we don't, the south side can wait.
This is a federal aid project, so yes, the money has been secured. It's budgeted in this current fiscal year to be able to handle the completion of that project.
Okay, so that money's coming from somewhere else.
80-20 grant.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about the Patty Lane project. Okay, Patty Lane projects has got 2 islands done. There's 1 more left, right,
Previous
Jimmy?
administration wanted to jumpstart that project at the end of last year while we were trying to build to get to the MOA, which is a memorandum of agreement with the transportation cabinet for the grant funding to come in order to construct that project.
Okay.
So since then, Public Works did go out and start 2 islands, got them curved, got them sidewalk. Still don't have the pavers yet in and some of the other elements of those islands, but they at least got a jump start on them. And mainly with one area that the property owner was wanting to do some improvements on his site. And so that's part of the auspice of trying to help that property owner out. I'm anticipating the MOA should be coming in this week or next, which will come back to the council basically to get the resolution and have the mayor sign that. And that basically allows that federal funding to come in for the rest of that project. At that particular time, then that's when we will bid that and go out to construction. And that again also is in the current fiscal year's budget.
Okay, good. That makes me feel good. Okay, that's a third one. Let me think of the other one. The other one is the Trian project, the monument. Those poor people have worked themselves to death to earn the millions that they've earned to have this monument. It must be a huge monument. It's costing them $10,000 a month to store the granite that the Trian project is creating. And our city council or our public works, hats off to them. They are going to be doing the electric and the landscaping for them.
Did the construction entrance to feed their contractors'
Right.
needs where they don't interfere with our Freedom Wall Plaza area in the upper part.
Right. So that's really not costing us any money. It is costing us money because we're paying our guys to go up there to do this. But for what it stands for and for the veterans, we're glad to do that. So, but we don't have to come up with any more money. Okay. Seems like there was one more. I had 5 projects going. Streetscape, police department, amphitheater, Trian, Patty Lane. I've covered them all. Okay. Oh yeah, the plain view there. Yeah. Okay.
That can be postponed.
What can?
The setting of the playground.
Oh, okay. But it's here.
I know it's here, but it can be postponed.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know what it's going to cost to construct, but they have to construct.
Okay. Well, at least I don't have to have a grant or a loan for it, I don't think. So anyway.
It's in the improvement projects.
Okay.
We'll pay for it.
Okay. I think that's it. I think we covered a lot tonight, and we are ready for Ronnie.
Yes, Mayor, if there's no other business, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. I will get a table. It will be in there. Yes.